start by saying all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Malkam, Nas, I want to say blessings and all this great grace from the world. Shalom to the whole elect. I'm out here once again to prophesy the downfall of this kingdom. The year is 2022, the year of turning up, right? And that's what we're seeing going on right now from the midst of the earth. The Heavenly Father turning up, right? And we're here to usher in the coming of the Lord, the wonder world Lord Jesus Christ, right? His true name according to the Bible, according to the Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew as scholars call it, Lashon Kodash, you know, the holy tongue, right? Yahweh Shai, Mashiach. Yahweh Shai meaning the deliverer, the Mashiach meaning the anointed, right? So he's gonna make his appearance upon the earth, alright? And in every manner before how the Heavenly Father does things, he makes it be known what he's gonna do before it happens, to magnify his power, right? That's why he assigned known as the prophets, right? The prophets, when you open the Bible, it basically speaks of many different men, great men, alright? Who basically spoke of things that are gonna happen before they did. But the word prophet means pro, meaning before, and effect meaning to say, alright? So before something, or side friend. So yeah, say. So before something comes to pass, he has these men come out and basically say what's never been a time like this before, alright? And we're seeing that by the leap amount being taken in this world. And it's being done, you know, rightfully by the hand of Esau Edom. Today's called a so-called white man, right? Reimagined himself, and basically in doing so, he was creating the wicked over the earth, alright? To basically take the left-hand side to his highest stratosphere, basically, alright? And that's why we're in the midst of all these heinous crimes being done upon the earth. One that comes immediately to mind is transgenders being able to swim like you had the guy that changed over to a woman, to a so-called woman, transformer, alright? Like a Decepticon, alright? He basically transformed into a female gold medalist, alright? And now there's some silver medalist. Okay. So basically, he was like ranked 400 in the men's, yeah. So now there's a big uproar, a kerfuffle, especially over in the UK, because they want to preserve some form of dignity over here in the UK. They're saying that's not going to happen over here. But in America, they're basically saying that, look, you know, they're not so with it now, right? But that's because of what America's known as Babylon the Great, the land of confusion. So this is why these things are happening. This is because Esau is the front man of the end of the world, as you know, right? A time of heightened evil on the earth.
Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Yeah, that's Esau, all the wickedness that's been pushed out. Now everything's been pushed up to the max. You've been seeing recently as well with the Quran, with the mark. There's articles they'll space out by like a few weeks talking about the Quran, saying, oh, you can now make payments with an implantable microchip. You know, you can link this up to your bank. It's so convenient, safety features, whatever. Promoting it, pushing it onto the people. These things, everything's been toned up with the LGBT thing. When you had it first come out, you go back like 10 years, it was received completely differently compared to now. Now it's at a point where people are going on social media and then sticking all kind of rainbow flags and whatever, and saying, oh, you know, I'm this sexual, I'm that sexual, because now it's popular. Now it's the in thing. Now that's how much these things have been pushed. And that's the thing, is like more or less these things have come from what? From Esau. Esau's the one. He's the head. He's the one who gives a green light for things to get pushed out. And hey, now it's become the norm, and that's why it's like people are basically saying like, oh, they want to make it where there's not even any categories in sports. But then the whole point of categories existed was so that women could have a set of records to exist anyway.
And even when you go into the boxing, there's categories, there's different weight classes. Why do they have different weight classes? Is that like what do you call it? What's the term? Is that another ism that people should police and say, oh, we shouldn't have weight classes? Everyone's equal.
No, that's what some of them say. Anyway, they say, oh, there should be no. Everyone should just go in and compete. Obviously, these are fucking lunatics who don't actually do any sports.
Yeah.
Or they've never like.
I mean, if you want to put Mortal Kombat or some shit like that, or like
a death
that's a different type of thing.
That's one thing. But in reality, if you have bro the 260-pound fucking heavyweight versus a welterweight,
Flyweight, not even flyweight. What's like bantamweight, the low weight, like the featherweights and shit.
Yeah. Bro, that guy, one hit, he's done, bro. He's dead. Like he's gonna be for 12 rounds. He's gonna have to be moving like he's got lightning in his spine, bro. But then that's the whole point. Anyway, the whole system of sports is meant to be an exhibition of competition.
Yeah.
If there's no competition, what the fuck? It's like men's and women's tennis. You enjoy them as two separate sports. Because if you put them together, bro, what the fuck's even the point?
There wouldn't be no Serena. Like none of the great
Maria
athletes.
Sharapova's.
Yeah, Sharapova.
I can't remember. What's her name?
I think it's only Osaka, yeah.
One.
And they got the other girl over here, the 60.
Yeah, there's one that was over here as well.
Yeah, she's Sophie something. I can't remember her name. But you got all this different talent. They wouldn't be allowed to exhibit their talents. Why?
Yeah, there'll be no stage.
Because it wouldn't surpass the ranking of the 555th male in the bloody qualifying stages. They wouldn't even guess what? Female tennis wouldn't exist. Right? A female tennis star, they would look at it and they'd be like, there's no point going there.
And the funny thing is this Esau's flipping everything.
Yeah.
Because the whole point, like going back to like the 60s, it was like, okay, women's looks like women go out X, Y, and Z. They were pushing those things. Now women are being thrown in the dirt. They've been dashed in the ditch. It's that meme of Indian bag, relationship with exes ended, and then now thinking my best friends. That's what's happened. Relationship with women's issues has ended. Now relationship with the LGBT. And that's the thing. All these things are basically just pushed out into the general consciousness through popular media, through social media. Like movies, TV shows, and whatnot. They've basically pushed these things out to get in people's minds. That's more or less what it exists for. And the adjustment of how people are trying to view things, how they think about things, opens them up to to the main thing, which is the mark. Because as far as for people, it's like the idea as well is the whole how who you are as a human being. All that's just going to be adjustable. It's saying, get to the point where science will just be able to make it so you can turn a man into a woman, or you'll be able to adjust your height or your eye color or your whatever.
Yeah, they want to turn people into Mystique, man. Shapeshifters, man. You finish having sex with a woman, she turns into a man and walks off into the darkness. Yeah. And you don't know what you just had sex with.
But that's like that's the overarching thing that's being pushed out, because it lines up with the LGBT, where it's like, okay, we had the old idea of male and female, now we're going to something new. Or we had the old idea of being a people and now being cyborgs or whatever, and now it's just like you are just gonna have technology inside you regardless. That's all basically in the name of progress, which is going towards what? That beast system, the centered around the corona, all layered over. It's essentially just being like, yo, wherever society's going, you want to be along for the ride. You what? Isaiah 26:10. esteemed. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. But shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed him, he had no understanding? That's what this was happening. Esau flipped everything. Because he, like, when you go back to the 60s, that was one layer of confusion being applied. And it's like what was gained from what getting the women's
quite crazy, all right? So it shows you that this really dealing with, this is why this king, as I said at the beginning, are speaking, that basically this is a time like never before, man. Roll it up, you know, sponge it up into a ball, set it on fire. That's what this is. This is the peak of all of that. So what is being described is even now beyond tribes, the Negroes, Hispanics, and Americans. Now it's gone out to the whole world, right? Because basically, beautiful women, like I was watching this woman, this girl, she's an American girl. She come over to the UK and she was reviewing Jordan Peterson with my friend, and she said, "I'm gonna turn my friend red." That's basically the idea of the video series. Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay. That white nigga. Yeah, she's alright, man. So basically, she was saying like, it was Jordan Peterson talking to the bloody feminist, feminazi.
Oh,
You know, not on the news, the other one. You know
the one on GQ.
Yeah, on GQ. And basically, she said outright, she said that women's rights is within abortion. She said that. Specific bill of like, she acknowledged that. And the pill. That's it. That's the only reason. She said why women can have an end to the work. But those women listening were like, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't have no right to like, and they'll kind of say, well, I wouldn't mind having some rights alleviated from me for the sake of, you know, not having to go to war and not having to do this. What's happening is some women are starting to realize, or they realize when it's too late, you know, that they have some form of sanity, that they got a bad deal, really. They got to work like men, all right? But then others with the demons are so bugged up, private life, running around dating culture and the youth, they don't really realize.
They think there's something of value there. Because, hey, that's the thing as well. It's like with how like women, the way they're indoctrinated now in the modern day is they're basically pushed to go out and work. It's like, if you're not going out, you're not working, you're not getting a career, you're not traveling, you're not pouring about riding the carousel, then it's like, you know, you're not even really living life. And that's the joke. Because as far as doing those things, there's little to no value within that shit. So you might go out, okay, you build up a career, you make some money. When you get up in age, you drop that, like, what are you going to do with it? You're going to start getting infirm. You know, there's going to be no one fucking there. You don't actually spend time to go and get a partner, then, you know, you're going to start getting up into that age where you're not even flexible to work with someone else, to even have a relationship. And then you're fucked. You might just be going around just fucking about and have a kid with some dude, have a bunch of abortions. Those things are going to be on your spirit, man. Because that's the thing. It's like, even with the abortions that the women have them, they'll be like, yo, they'll be down to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're just like, they're opened up. And they then just start prioritizing. They'll basically have in their mind, like, oh, I'm actually, you know, they're going to be even more prideful in whatever they're doing. Because they're thinking like, oh yeah, you know, well, I've already sacrificed a kid for it.
Yeah, they bring out the scripture. Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man.
Yeah, woman compassing a man. And that's basically the bedrock of it. This is abortion and the pill. Because without the pill, like without the capability to control birth control, it's like that's the free sex thing as well. Women going out and being whores, that was like it's a naturally built-in reaction to why that's terrible. Is you have fucking kids with random strangers, and then you're toast. But hey, that's why that's why poor confusion demons are on people nowadays, man. People people are bugged out. They don't know what the hell's going on. Women especially. And it's like, you talk to people, you mention like 99.9% of women, you mention having kids, having a family too. They're going to start going, like they physically repulse. 2 Timothy 3:2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers. Whoa, yeah. Lovers of their own self. And women as well. Because as far as it's like with like you being like,
I was gonna say, when you do the good way to even get to that point is, what's the glory of a man? A woman. What's the glory of a woman? Her hair. That's within herself. It's a love that she can only have for herself, which builds upon the point of, who's more of a lover of their own selves? It'll be women.
as far as it's all the things that basically are positive is like, okay, if you're not gonna do the traditional role of what women have done throughout history, then what are you gonna do? It's then basically to just try and live like a man, to get a job, get success in those fields, party or about, which you do it. It's like what you really building up. So if you're working, you're building up a company. It's like, okay, like what worth is that really gonna have? And it's funny as well because a lot of these people say, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I've got multiple companies." That means the bitch has an OnlyFans, man. It's not really any they're not doing anything of any particular worth to where like in the long run they're gonna look at that and be like, "Oh yeah, that's enough for me to sit back with."
And even if it weren't an OnlyFans, really when you deal with a business and building up the main reason why it takes precedence in a man's life is because they know at some point they're going to build a family. They're going to need for their progeny, like their lineage to carry on, but there needs to be an inheritance.
There needs to be some way to kind of make that happen.
Yeah. They need to sustain them throughout life, and then also they need to leave them something to inherit when they pass on. So with a woman, why are you building up multiple businesses? It's self-serving. A lot of them they just say like, yeah, and then after that, what is it? You sit in the abundance of things with your dogs and your cats, and then you just die slow.
So name Diana, was it? No, not Diana. Tracy Ellis Ross, man.
Yeah.
Single as hell, rich,
Yeah.
single as hell, or notoriously single. And that's the thing as well. Once you get up in age, all those things, like you've lived life. Done them things, and it's like those things don't hold any savor anymore. Then it's like, okay, what are you gonna do? If you're like 47, you start thinking about a family as a woman, you're done. As a man, you can 47 and have like 4 or 5 kids. Covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unfaithful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good, and that as well. It's like when women have gone in that lifestyle, they're spiteful as fuck. They'll talk about a woman that's kind of settled down and had a family, like she's got demons on her, man. They'll be cursing her out. They'll say, "Oh, she's doing that," and it's like even the ones that go in that lifestyle, even if they do have kids, they have husbands, they've got issues, man. Those one wife swap was
with a black woman.
The black woman was fireman, and it was like she was gassing up her job, gassing up this, whatever. She didn't want to do any cooking. She didn't want to do anything. She was just trying to live her career. Meanwhile, she's got 3 kids. She ain't cooking for the kids. The husband don't want to cook because he's got his career and his things he's doing. And I'm guessing the shit he was doing was bringing more to the household than what she was doing. But why? She's still in it. She's moving like she's a single 21-year-old. Like you're not in the same circumstance.
She wants to have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the sexual side. Yeah, love is a pleasures, because that's really what is a woman that lives for pleasures. She's dead while she's living, and that's what that's the only channel, the only path that's offered by Esau's realm right now. It's basically to go out and pursue pleasures to the extreme, which anyone, and the thing is as well is and the reason why it's different for men to build up versus women to build up is like the way men are viewing having to build up, that's a necessity. If you're out here and you're just a dude, you're fucked. No one gives a fuck. If you're out here working a dead end job, you fucking hate your life and want to kill yourself, bro. No one, like, there's no one out here with a shoulder for you to cry. But in a lot of circumstances, women will get hated. Women will get maintained. That's a natural response. So someone sent me a picture of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and it's like, what was it, a clip? It's like Amber Heard was making that little like miserable like puppy dog face, and I was like, there's a response just as a man seeing a woman looking in pain, where you're gonna have to manually override it because you know she's just a demon. But
all you gotta do is watch her in the courtroom. And look at pictures.
Yeah, but it's like it's those things are like that's just naturally wired into a man. You can have men where it's just like they'll just see it, they're like, damn, maybe she's not so bad, kind of a thing. And that's why it's like it's not the same. If you see a dude looking all messed up, you say like, oh yeah, you know, if you hear this vile heinous acts, then you see him looking all like down on himself. I'm like, fuck that nigga. I'm like, you fucking bitch, bro. I'm fucking off you. I was like, bro, I hope you don't get out there for free, man. I hope someone shoots you. That's like reflects on down the line, man. Women are basically have the easier right. And well, that's because they're out here, they ain't got no capabilities to do a whole lot of things. That's what the band wants to be there for. But Esau is basically he's through government systems, through the police, through transport, various other things, then giving avenues for women to get ahead. Going back to Jeremiah. I'm done on that.
So this is Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall you be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. And we're starting to see that play out right now. Right now we're in a bit of great inflation, right? Hyperinflation. Not hyper, I wouldn't say it's hyperinflation yet.
I mean, hyperinflation like starts I think it's in the range, because I think it's like 6% or so.
Okay.
So like it starts off hella low.
Because I know it was a stagflation problem. But yeah, basically, we're in inflation nonetheless. This is what we're seeing right now. There's certain things that are playing out. Right? The price of things is going up. And guess what? It's only going to continue to go up. A lot of people don't know where the true value of wealth lies, or resources. So this is where it really is setting up prophecies to play out within this day and age, man. Mainly being that of a famine, right? World War III, right? Tension amongst the people, invading one another for lack of bread. All these things are basically going to play out because of the time we're in. And now, no one's going to be affected more than who? Women and children before, because they're the weaker vessels, and so they're unable to defend themselves and provide for themselves within dire situations. Right? I forget who it is. I believe Kevin Samuels. He was speaking about when he always would speak about women being on Bear Grylls Survival or something like that. I can't remember.
Survival, the island one. Yeah.
Where they said like women don't have the upper body strength to save themselves from falling off a cliff if they were hanging off one. So that's the level. That serves as a good analogy onto what it is women like their capabilities in this world when it comes to their life being on the line. Right? They do not have the power nor strength to get themselves out of that situation. So hence that's why they die. Alright? So that's why it's more imperative that they have a man, and not any old man, especially any time we're heading into, they need a man of the elect, right? To basically one thing you can be the man, you know, like Dan Brazilian, whatever his fucking name is, Brazilian, Brazilian, you know, where he was at the Houston, yeah, he's at the Houston shooting, and he said he ran off and he got his rail gun or whatever, or he's like, his gun is shooting, like, yeah, he run and got his gun and was like gun hole, rugged man with a beard and all that type of shit. It don't matter, it could be that guy's world. The Lord has got something for him, man. This is a time where the Lord got it written in the heavens, man, that whatever is going to allotted to you is going to happen. All right, and that's why we're out here pushing these works, because we do it through faith.
So let his daughter get taken hostage. He'll be looking like Tyrese. I just want to see my baby.
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like, you know, every man's got that fatal weakness where, you know, that gets attacked, it's game over, man. It's done. Well, read this, Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our, well, it's you know, 7 women taking hold of one man. Why is this occurring? And that's the thing, because if you look at now in this present time, the only reason 7 women are grabbing on one man is because, you know, some form of status, some form of monetary compensation, or, you know, access to you know, certain resources. Or what it says, we'll eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by our name to take away our reproach. And that's what it's going to get to where women are going to be so in peril. And that's the thing, that's what they said was happening going down in Ukraine. They said the Russian troops were going rebel, raping the women up. Like, that's how fucked it gets. That's the thing, once it goes into a war zone, a raw, that's, you go into like shit that's been happening in the Middle East, where, you know, you're chilling one day, the next day your fucking hospitals get blown up. You know, you're looking at your kids 7 home, that got blown out, you know, 30 meters away from where the hospital was. That's how fucked it goes. So when it reaches that tier of events, a lot of things are held in place. There's kind of people where if there wasn't any what's the word? Not response. If there wasn't any punishment, any form of punishment or accountability. If people could do certain things, if there was no accountability, a situation with no accountability, which is what happens when the lights switch off. If there's no accountability, they'll do all kinds of messed up shit. There's people where they want to do vile, depraved things, and the only thing really stopping them is knowing that if they do that, they're gonna, you know, the police are gonna grab them up. They're like, you know, they ain't gonna be able to live their life the same way. That's the kind of people where when fucked up shit goes down, bro, they're gonna be doing the madness, man. That's like, bro, it's the shit going on in Ukraine. Them man, you just Kalashnikov the daddy, Kalashnikov the son. Then you can grab up the wife for the door. That's how fucked it is. And bro, in that situation, like the brother mentioned, the upper body strength difference, that shit is gonna be night and day, man. You'll see some skinny dude wrestling with you know, a slightly heavier girl, and he's out strengthening her. You're like, yo, there's no competition there, man. That's how fucked it's gonna be.
I've got more. So Isaiah 32 and 11. Tremble you women that are at ease, be troubled you careless ones, strip you and make you bare. I think he's one of them. I'll tell you. There was one time, was you out with us doing pull-ups? I mean, it was 7 months ago, late at night. But I'll tell you what later on. Because I see him around where, you know, I can strip and make you bare and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teeth. They shall lament for the teeth, for the pleasant fields, and for the fruitful vine. Right, the teeth. Sure.
This shit is getting at me. It's going on.
I go figure my bag, you know. Grabbing this up. Yeah, so the teachers talking about the government and, you know, the goodies that women receive in society, man. Child support for one, right? And it's a common trend amongst women. They look at it that if any money obligated to their child, they're gonna take it upon themselves. There'll be many accounts. I've heard many. I've been told of many, right? Of different various people where their mum said like, yeah, man, she said that's her money. And she will look at it like, well, I carried you in my womb for 9 months. You gave me stretch marks up on ankles for ankles. Yeah, I took my beauty, so this is my little get back, right? And that's basically the reality of the situation, right? These women set themselves before anything. But the point being is that all those benefits that they're getting is going to come to an end. And as the brother read it in the book of Isaiah, the 4th chapter, basically that's where it's going to be great temperance and great favor in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. Alright? So I want to read a couple of precepts on that.
Isaiah 13 and 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord Jehovah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. So even the men are going to be afraid. The men are going to be in a state of terror, and that's literally off the back of that already. You know, it's over for the women. If there's men dying of shock, how much more so the women, man? Because as far as it's like the brother read, the women are at ease. Right now is a time where ease has hit a whole new paradigm or level of ease that's been had for women, especially within Eastern society. So when that's completely flipped, because it's one thing when it was an ancient world, and it's like, yeah, how things are set up, the dynamics then, and then it went into a state of war or conquest or whatever. But now it's completely gone all the way to the left. Now it's completely different. When this guy in there, that's a legendary switch. So, and in modern times, people ain't really the last, as far as you guys for the UK, talking about the UK, the last time like war be touched it was like World War II, and even then it was just a blitz. It wasn't like a ground level invasion. It wasn't on the scale of where people are intimately experienced, like soldiers running through doing a madness. Yeah. So when that something is going down, then it's cold. People are really not ready. People are really not ready.
So this book of Deuteronomy 28 and 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her womb, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. The husband of the womb messed me up. The husband of her womb. But again, the man that's bound to by her womb, like having sex. Verse 57, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, but she shall eat of them. But she shall eat them for what of all things secretly in the siege and straightness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. So basically, it's a curse from the Heavenly Father. Basically, it's a curse from the Heavenly Father. State of affairs right now dealing with women, more so the women on the side, man. They're going to be what the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, American women, all the women that through their father's life goes back to Israel. That they're going to have themselves in preeminence. They hold themselves above everything else. Even to the point where in the famine, when there's a siege, that they'll eat their own children. right? That's to the extent of self-care and selfishness they have within themselves. Right? I don't want to be an example of that, right?
YouTube.
It's the book of I know
It's because of work, innit? Like,
yeah. So this is Second Kings 6. Second Kings 6 and 25, it says, and there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for fourscore pieces of silver, and the full part of a cap of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, help my lord, O king. And he said, if the Lord Yahweh do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled. It just sounded a turn of events. Yeah. Let's eat your son today. Eat Tay today, and then eat your son tomorrow. And then like, okay, so yeah, we boiled my son. Like, tell him the story. It's crazy, man. Verse 29. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. Her belly was full. She said, nah, man, I can't eat my son. Yeah. Son, he came back. Like, yeah. Really? Man.
she's like, you know, we should save him for later.
Verse 30. And it came to pass when the king heard the words of the woman that he rent his clothes and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. So that's the point. That's the extreme women are prepared to travel to, or go to, should I say, travel to go to. And this is what we're going to see. We're seeing that in these last days. We see so-called black women do these type of things, man. Right? Put their kids in an oven, microwave, all types of shit.
So the one in the UK was in Bristol. She left I think it was like maybe 8 months. I don't remember. It was young as fuck. But she left in the house alone to starve and die while she went and partied for like 4 days. You know, those are the kind of people that are looking at that bill where, you know, the perinatal bill, like, you know, with like it's you know, the great news. Yeah. It's spiffing news. Job 39 and 13. Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacock, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth, and warmeth them in the dust, and warmeth them in dust, and forget that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without foot. Yeah, it's like, did you even do? I'm like, that's the wildest thing is with having kids. It's like, bro, did you perform the acts to make that shit come to pass? Like, I'm like, bro, what the fucking hell did you expect? From when you're like 11, they give you a little booklet in school and they tell you, you know, if a man busts a nut inside a woman, you know, the sperm fertilizes the egg, and then 9 months later you get a
The
kid.
egg fertilizer.
Oh God, yeah. And then what do you call it? And then you 9 months later you get a baby. Like what the fuck? Like, what? Like everyone, that shit's been known. So that's why it's like you perform certain actions. It's like what the hell do you expect? But then it's like you're basically doing it, and it's Sarah 26, I believe. She wipes her mouth.
Says it, yeah.
Like and basically said like she's done, like she didn't even perform the act. And that's really what it is. It's like there's what you perform, you do certain things, you reap
If
what you
anything,
sow.
they'll say they've done all they could do. They said, I gave you birth.
Yeah, it's like now it's time to take that back. Yeah, I want my life back. I'm thinking about me. Her labor is in vain without fear, because the Most High have deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding. Yeah, that's really it. I'm like, bro, you're bugged out, man. It's like if you're like women that are having kids and then just being like, you know, just gonna smite them. That's bro, you're bugged, man. That whole, and that's the thing is. It's been the angle that is basically brought under is that this, you know, to empower women, which in reality is well, yeah, but it's also killing kids, man. You know, congratulations.
Well, yeah, definitely,
Like what?
yeah. It's empowering.
Yeah, at the cost of a bunch of kids.
Men and babies. Let me read this. Micah 7 and 10. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. And that's basically the end of the whole thing. As Solomon said in the book of Ecclesiastes, better is the end of it. Well, the same book where he also mentioned that there's no wickedness greater than the wickedness of a woman. Right? He said, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. So the end of the matter in terms of the wickedness of women will be that they'll be covered in shame, and they'll be stamped like the mires, like the mud in the streets, basically. So there's going to be a day of reckoning with all these things. And that's why the Prophet read before, the day of reckoning is going to be, well, again in the book of Isaiah, right? Where it says a man shall be a hiding from the wind. Isaiah 32 and 2. And a man shall be a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Right? So that's basically what's going to happen. As the brother read before, dealing with men in that day. Right? So men are going to be so afraid that they're going to have heart attacks. Alright? So what's on more women? Alright? They're going to be saved by what? Marriage to a man of the Lord. Right? That's why Paul spoke of it, that women should be saved in childbearing. That's 7 women, perfect number of women cleaved onto one special man of the Lord, basically. Right? They ain't going to be allowed now. Once you get that man, you can't then hopscotch to another man. Because that's not how it works. You get that man, you better hold on to him like their life, man. Alright? Because the Lord said in these last days that he would get you onto great men. Right? And that's him building up the men of the elect. Right? And that's what he's been doing over the years. Alright? And he's going to continue to do until all these men are numbered and they're basically sanctified for the time to come. Okay?
This shit. Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom. Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation.
Yeah, you know, the brother read it before about women being acquired wisdom. So who's that talking about? When he said wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. Talking about the elect men that have labored in his truth, right? And labor starts by first thought. Isaiah 30 tells you to hear a voice behind you saying, this is the word of the where the Lord go ye, walk ye in it. Right? They hear that calling, right? They follow up by doing the works of the Lord, right? Studying to basically, you know, show themselves approved, right?
The fear of the Lord Jehovah is his treasure.
Yeah, the fear of the beginning. The book of Proverbs, the first chapter, right? King Solomon broke it down very plainly. He said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, Mark 13, and then amongst many other scriptures within the Bible of things that last days. Right? The only ones that are going to be able to escape those set dangers are going to be the men that he's appointed to be saved in those last days. Just go to the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, man. It tells you angels were appointed at that time period to basically set a mark of exemption from the foreheads of men that sigh and cry for the abominations that have been done in the midst of them. And this is no different to the time where, if anything, it's to a greater magnitude, right? The people of this day and age, or the men, should I say, of this day and age that are sanctified unto that salvation, that mark of exemption, they're basically going to be enduring what they need to do, right? Sighing and crying. They're going to be adverse to this way of this world because it doesn't uphold the standard of Yahweh Bar Shem Yahweh Shai Bar Shem Harakah Kadash, right? It upholds a totally different standard, right? Which is the left-hand side of the Heavenly Father, right? Great evils being, you know, magnified on earth. Got another one?
Yeah. Proverbs 8:1. Doth not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice?
Yep.
She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in of the doors.
Yep.
Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man.
Yeah, and not any sons of man is dealing with the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Right? When you open the Bible, when you go from Genesis to the book of Revelation, including the Apocrypha, which is found in the book of, in the 1611 King James Version, right, before taken out by the Bible instruction, what you find is the men that the Heavenly Father dealt with specifically, right, were the children of Israel, who he made a covenant with, going back to the forefathers, right, the founding fathers, patriarchs, being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right, and he didn't change his mind. He only dealt with them, and he continued to deal with them. Now, if there was any heathen, anyone outside of the nation that we dealt with, it served as a, what was he talking? It served as a, basically it served a point, right, like you had with Numbers 24, Numbers 22, Balaam, right? It served as a point of him knowing that, so he could say to what degree the children of Israel were blessed, that he wanted to be an Israelite as well, right? Anyone that acknowledged and spoke in his favor of the Lord, it served to show how great his power was, right?
O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. Funny as well, because yeah, it's like you can be a fool. But the second you stumble upon wisdom, you embrace it, then your end result is going to be wise.
And yes, what? We were all fools before we came into this fair. That's the reality of the situation.
No one was, you know, just popped out and everything. We all had basically had to build up. When you first come in, you don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, when you're out on the road, really, you got no clue what you can't see anything from anything. That's something that when you come into the truth, that's where you actually start to build on your wisdom. Okay, 1 Corinthians 14 and 32. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. For the Most High, it's not the author. It's not, for the Most High, it's not the author of confusion, but peace as in all churches. But peace as in all churches of the saints. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And that's the thing is with this thing we're dealing with, and the women have a role to play, and the role ain't speaking. They ain't meant to be out there, teaching the men what to do. That's why it's like all orders to rise up. Because the men are basically, they're the central pillar, they're the bedrock of how salvation is going to be received. The women says, what, can you save from childbirth? What? For those men, the elect. This is going to be a thing. Essentially, it's the men are going to be the ones that act out. And that's something as well that's been turned into a lie in modern times. Essentially, there's no difference between men and women. Both men and women are, equally viable to do all things. That's complete and total BS. There was, I thought it was a joke, but apparently there was a Netflix movie or series called He's Expecting, and then you have what must have been a trans man with a pregnant belly, like as a picture. And I was like, this is the best, bro. I was like, because I saw it and I was like, someone made that as a joke, but apparently it's a real thing. It's on Netflix. But that's how much confusion is thrown out.
But yeah,
What did you just read? No, I still got one more anyway. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. And this, you read this out now, you're gonna be cancelled. You're gonna be slammed on Twitter. They're gonna end your life. Your job's gonna let you go, and it's gonna be the end.
society will hold you.
You're a disgusting male.
Patriarchy again.
Yeah, patriarchy strikes out. We got over that, but hey, that's the thing. Was it Malachi? I am the Lord, I changed not. The Lord he set what he set, and ain't been changed. As far as for now is what is the fashion. This current time, that's gonna pass. That's the thing. There's previous fashions that have come. And that shit is dust. That shit is accruing, it's being eroded. And that shit is in the depths of the earth. Unforgotten. That's going to be the same thing with the current time. As far as right now, that's what everyone's running with. As soon as one extreme crisis hits, everything's going to be completely different. Everyone pushed it as far away from their mind as they can. What's going on in Russia and Ukraine? That really makes it where it's like, that shit's close. Because we're in Europe, it's close. It's funny because I was talking with one girl, and it comes to I was saying during the 90s, like 80s and 90s, people were on top of the world, man. Like you watch some of the movies and music videos and whatnot that came out in the 90s, it was nothing but bliss. Because why? It's like, especially after the Soviet Union fell, everyone's like, oh, there's never going to be another war again on the face of the planet Earth. Everyone's going to live in peace. Everything's going to be good. We did it, guys. We made it. Then 9/11 happened, man. And now we're in a post 9/11 world, man. Because as far as that's the thing is, people really think, there's some, rest to be found. They don't realize it's for women dealing with words prophecy. What's left? Punishment, judgment.
Very basic. This is Job 9 and 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, covers the face of the judges. If not, where and who is it? Right? So this kingdom of presently in is controlled by the wicked. Right? The wicked being who? When you go to the book of Malachi, the first chapter, it tells you that Esau shall come back and re-establish himself. Right? But he shall be known as the borders of wickedness. Right? So when we deal with Esau, right, everyone upon the face of the earth has a biblical nationality. One of the many signs of who Esau is first of his name. Esau goes back to the Hebrew as Joshua, which means wasted away is he. So due to the lack of pigmentation, that's how we know Esau, right? That of him being the so-called white man, right? Similar to what Mark that was put on Cain back prior to the flood, right? Whereby he basically was stripped of his color to be basically presented before all the people as someone that's off limits, right? That was the token of that. Now in this day and age, Esau that's the same way we know Esau, right? The fact that he has a lack of melanin, right? And he's known today remodeling himself as so black. Okay? So it said, he said, earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And basically, he covers the face of the judges thereof. Right? But presently, Esau is ruling this world and serving one purpose and one purpose alone, to manifest wickedness upon the earth, which we're seeing right now. Right?
Second Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's something that needs to go down. The man of sin being revealed. Because that, as far as going back 2,000 years ago, who Esau was, how it lined up. That wasn't known, that was clarified. The secrets hadn't been exposed. But now in the modern time, now it's Esau's known, man. No point to identify it.
Too fast, too furious.
That's another fucking series. Came from that period where, and nothing wrong could ever happen in the world. But yeah, Esau's been revealed. And that's the thing is, that revelation from Esau, Edom, that's been a thorn in the side. Because the scriptures line up with him so perfectly. So it's a crap. He's really not able to escape. He's doing his best. But, he's getting blasted, bro. Edomite is becoming a regular majority of the time, man. That shit's on just dumping on what's it called?
Yeah, I know you.
Urban Dictionary.
Something is happening, then we will come and complain.
You got more?
Nice, that was just
to the point. Yeah. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Right? And this is a main concept a lot of people fail to grasp. Right? To actually ask the question, why? Why is this happening? That's very a primitive state of mind. It's actually so basic, because one of the main things that you have that toddlers, toddlers, people of young age, they'll question everything. They'll say, I'm sure you know that. Yeah. They'll ask why mommy, why daddy, like, why does that happen? I know I remember our systems, bloody ask them questions all the damn time, man. Right? Our youngest, to me anyway. But that's because they're trying to understand the concepts of things. And that's something that a lot of people let the grant due to social conformity, engineering really. Yeah, they basically let go of the question. Whereby if someone said to you, yeah, we just evolved from tadpoles and, you know, what we was talking about last week.
This
mine,
thing keeps disconnecting.
I saw it last week. It was like 120 hour 24. Like, oh, no, I had longer than that. But basically, it's just saying, so basically, hey, taking that analogy into effect, say if you need to, there's a mountain face in front of you, and you have that dead weight on your hot air balloon. What are you gonna do? You're gonna keep hold on to the dead weight, or you're gonna let go of it, right? Because it's time to what? Cast away stone. So the Heavenly Father's appointed sanctifying time for everything, right? Really building up. I'm just reading this. This is just really. Now I'm being melodramatic and getting to my point. So it says verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to pass away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Alright? So we're evidently in a time of war. I'll go a quick one before we go. Revelations 8:3. And I beheld and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. So basically there's what? The three woes being declared by the angels. We're talking about the three world wars. Alright? So the Heavenly Father declared 3 world wars to go on the face of the earth. And right now we're in the midst of gearing up to the 3rd World War. And really, it's more than anything, we're seeing guys going down in the Ukraine, between between Russia and Ukraine, of course. It's basically the wars and rumors of wars. Alright? That's
really proxy war, as far as anyway. Because the initiation of it was based on the West, and who's pumping them with supplies, who's pumping them with unofficial troops. It's the Western allies, like NATO, EU, America, those allies against them. So that's the conflict. But it's just like with Vietnam, Korea, the various South American countries. It's two people, they're basically putting influence behind these different political factions or whatever, to then be like, okay, yeah, that's them fighting about putting their own troops on the line, their own,
There you go, look. The caps on the bearings of the logo is always the right way up, therefore it doesn't spin.
I was going to read Revelation 11. You got something?
okay. This one I forgot. Sirach 3:24, for many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. If people really are there thinking their own opinion, their own view on what life should be, what righteous judgment is versus unrighteous judgment, etc. Those things that's what they're operating on. That's how their mindset is. That's how they're viewing things. But then if the mistake of viewing things in that manner is what you call it. Then look, my thoughts are not your thoughts, man. The way how Hashem Yahushua decides to get down and have things go down, especially now in the time of the end, where it's that final great judgment, then it's like, well, look, why the hell should you have a say in it when you're just some peon, some extra that's gonna get scrapped, it's gonna get wiped out, man. That's the reality. That's how cold it is. It's these guys are basically these guys are looking forward to the Corona, man. these guys can't wait to get the shit planted in brain. That's that's the kind of people we're talking about. Okay. What did you read, Revelation?
No.
Okay, let me Revelation 7:1. And after these things I saw it got in there, I was like it was ready to pack my throat. About 3 jars. Nah.
You slap on the back.
Nah.
Alright. Proverbs 16 and little left. Proverbs 16:4. The Lord Yahweh made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Right? So we spoke about Job 9, we read about Job 9:24. Earthly giving into the hands of the wicked, correct? But it also spoke of time being appointed for everything upon the earth. Now this is that time, the wicked of the earth being appointed at the time of the season to do their best, basically, do their work. So Proverbs 16:4, the Lord Yahweh has made all things for himself. So even these laws, right? The same man that says that, the earth was made through the Big Bang, and basically, evolution, all these different things. He was made by the Heavenly Father to serve for one purpose and one purpose alone. To do what? It says, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So this man was made for the day of evil. And that's what we're in the midst of. We're in the midst of evil days. The height of that evil, we're walking into it, basically. Right? And these things are being manifest in many ways. So I got an article I want to read.
Revelation 7:1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor in the tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. So this is running on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's clock, his time, his rules, everything. And that's as real as it gets. Because that's why it's like people will be like, they'll make plans, they might have 5-year, 10-year plans, then they'll get in an accident and they'll break both their legs. Good example, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange had the most legendary hands in the thingy business.
Raise the power.
The greatest surgeon with the sharpest hands, moving the quickest. Man's not even looking, and then he's just. But then what have you got in a car crash because he was being prideful, and his hands got done out.
I should have thought about that.
Yeah, no. But that's how people. Now they it was legit. This Doctor Strange. But bro, they were killing it. Wow.
When they did that Shang-Chi and all that,
I was just like,
even Luke Cage, it became too. The way that they should have really kept it in the same vein as Daredevil and Britain. Yeah. They did. I know why they did it though. You fucking niggas, you Jakes, you love the whole inclusion. Like you just want to mess. You want to put. There's too many too many chefs in the kitchen. Like they want to do it needs a hip hop, that rock, needs to be a Harlem, just let it. Listen, give it a real, it needs to feel to the mold of New York for a really perspective. Like the watching the time of the
just with the Jake, just more of a Jake look outlook. That's who you need. It's
It
not
doesn't
that
have
deep,
to
bro.
be.
Don't have to be every social cause on the planet. Man, fuck your social cause. No one cares about you niggas, man. Jesus. But
They wanted to turn Marvel Universe into power, man. Or even worse than that. What's the other one? TikTok with
Love and Hip?
not Love and Hip, the other one, Empire. Oh, what's that shit? With Jesse Smollett.
Jesse Smollett. Smollett. Fucking hell. That
They should know.
That fucking Smollett. I'm like, bro, Jake is like, y'all undeserving of any respect. That's the thing. All these things, it's on y'all watching y'all trying to club. Because even it's like with Jake, they want it like now. It seems like Jake's getting, they're getting given a seat at the table. They're getting some prominence within society, but in reality, it's BS. It's like they've got the little, not even the crumbs on the table, they've got the little party table set that you get the little girl, and then she sits down with her dollies and her teddy bears, and she's like feeding them tea and smashing the cup to their mouth, the dolly's mouth,
They ain't getting
like
no
it
drink.
I'm like, bro, y'all are getting your little tea set to play with, whilst in reality, in real life, real shit's going down. Because as far as like people talking about bro, that's why people go, oh, it's woke shit, it's kill it, because it is. Any entertainment, they put that shit in, the shit's dead, bro. I'm like, I watched fucking Rush Hour 1 like 2-3 days ago, because someone told me that I was watching this. I was like, all the jokes in this, you couldn't even say them today. I was like, bro, they had Jackie Chan run up in a black club, a black bar, and just say, "What's up, my nigga?" I'm like, bro, I was like, hold on. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, calm down, they trying to himself. Yeah, they would have killed him.
But the Rush Hour really, by Rush Hour 2, 3 was.
Yeah, 3 was
it was shit.
Those
2 was still okay, but one, I remember when
one was
the
fire.
bloopers, man.
Yeah, the bloopers and one is still
I
fire.
want to watch out DVD when it got on DVD. Just wanted to watch that over and over again.
Rush Hour 1 that's the thing, and as well, it's like, even with, because like, all this shit is meant to be bringing everyone together. Bro, it's like a fucking Chinese guy and a black guy being racist to each other. It's getting people more to work together more than all that other shit you're doing now. That's the actual joke. It's like you're doing all that, it's all in vain. Because why else? It's all BS. Now, that's just some confusion for now to just be like, okay, that's really to rouse people up. Because that's basically just entrenched everyone more in racial lines, man.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, white people are just like, yo, why is everything I do racist now? What the fuck? I thought we were cool. And then it's like, black people, bro, what's that book? All them books they're writing, man. It's like, Dear White People, the TV show.
And they're usually
Dear
black
White
women
People.
as well.
Yeah, black women on everything. There's the book that was how I don't talk about race with white people and whatnot.
I see them books and everything.
I'm like, bro, who the fuck? I'm like, y'all are just making money. You're out here, you're trying to know you.
But you know what it is? It's the
like,
leftist culture of,
just all that shit. Them guys are losing their minds. Yeah. That's how it sounds like. Even Mallory Blackman with was it Noughts and Crosses? Noughts and Chat, I can't remember what happened. The one where it's like the black Africa took over the UK. Like that's the alternate history in the Middle Ages or whatnot. And it's like they finally did it when they did a TV show for years later. I was watching. I was like, bro, this is just gonna be rousing up white people. Motherfucking England. Talking about fine Africa. I'm like, bro, they ain't like, that's all you're doing is rousing up the race war, which is evidently the goal.
I really goes into what? The testimony of Yahweh Shai, the spirit of prophecy. So it really manifesting the words of the Heavenly Father that's on the page into reality, man. It's a living color. So this is the article from Metro. It says how to see an epic planetary alignment from your house this weekend. Right, this came out this week Wednesday. So it says, if you're stuck for something to watch this weekend, perhaps you've cancelled your Netflix subscription. It could be... yeah, Netflix
is done, man. One said they're expecting 2.5 mil more subscribers. They lost 200K. It's like they're done, bro. Their stock plummeted, bro. It's fucking funny. That's just funny as hell. Yeah. But yeah, you might be right.
So it says it could be worth heading outside and looking up, all right, and for more reasons than one. That's because 4 of 8, 9 counting Pluto, planets in our solar system will be visible to the naked eye. And unlike the latest season of Bridgerton, you won't need to pay a penny to see it. Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and Venus will line up across the sky this weekend in a rare planetary alignment that you'll be able to view on Saturday, April 24th. Oh shit, that's today. You won't need any... Oh, sorry. Sunday. I was like, that was me. In the desire to come and release. I played myself. You won't need any special credit against the weather to stay clear. Sadly, we can't help with that part, right? Acting as the celestial cherry on top of this cosmic Sunday, the moon will also join the lineup as it in the orbits of Earth. There are times when the more distant also come into the picture, but that happening this weekend. However, Mercury will be making a fashion to this it's footsie again. It's Mercury. So it says, however, Mercury will be making a fashionable late entrance to this parade of planets in mid-June. These alignments aren't exactly rare, but they are not common either. The last time 5 planets aligned in the night sky was in 2020. Before that was 2016 and 2005. And according to NASA, the 2 brightest planets in the sky, Venus and Jupiter, are set for that old ultra-close conjunction at the end of the month on April 30th. So that shows you this is happening on a great, crazy scale, right? It takes time. A planetary alignment doesn't just fall together. It requires orbits of the different planets to sync up the heavenly Father of time, right? And this article is speaking of a sign that Yahweh Shai spoke of as a sign to return to the beginning, right? The disciples, the apostles, they came to the Lord and said, what shall be the sign of thy coming? Or the sign of the times whereby we know you're about to come to earth, right? So it says, it requires orbits of different planets to sync up over time. A good way to kind of think of it, the way I think about it anyway, is you know when you have, it's too difficult to explain, but the point's the point. For example, Venus, Mars, and Saturn have been together in the sky since the end of the angle of the Earth and, you know, daylight. They haven't been visible above the horizon properly until now. Sadly, the same time doesn't extend to your viewing period. You'll likely have around a half hour before the sun rises. The sunrise starts to interfere with your view. When is the best time to see it? Right, so that's the point. So all these planets are aligning, moving into alignment. We got scripture. Right? It serves for a purpose.
C'est vraiment pas...
My word. Acts 2 and 17. And it will come to pass in the last days, saith the Most High, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall dream shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will put
I know.
Sam.
It figures over. And
exhaust bro as well. I will pour fill. I will put and on my servants, on my handmaidens, I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I'll show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire, vapor of smoke.
Wonders in the heavens above. So the Lord is making showing us signs in the last days. Here's a dictionary Cambridge, or Cambridge Dictionary says the stars align. Used to say that a situation is very good or lucky, or becomes completely right in order for something to happen, right? So the stars are aligning for what? For the Lord to make an arrival upon the earth, right? So there's some examples. The stars aligned when they met and fell in love. I thought all the stars had aligned for him to finally get another win. It looked like the fates had aligned to bring two sides together. The constellations were aligning against the Tory party. And that's actually what is happening. But yeah, man, that's it. So the Lord is showing himself through the signs of the times. Alright? And that's one of the prophecies for us in our time. Alongside with this war and rumors of other wars that are going to spring up, this will serve to what the coming of our Lord. Alright? Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past. Behold, the third woe comes quickly. So the third world war is coming extremely quickly. Right? It's going to manifest itself upon the face of the earth. Now, what is the third world war? What is the third world war? Right? The third world war is going to basically be a firefight amongst the nations. The main nations we're speaking about is the nations of Esau. Right? Or sub-nations, you could say. Esau being that's it, the tribe of Esau, which is so whatever. The main two the main two nations going to play out between being Russia and the United States, right? And it's going to be an exchange of ICBMs, hypersonic missiles, basically flying from one side of the earth to the other, all right? And this is something that they let me know that, you know, the Western media, they keep saying Russia's getting beaten by Ukraine and they can't do nothing, etc., etc.
I've seen the map of how much is occupied by fucking Russia. You know, I saw the map, I was like, what the fuck is these niggas be talking about?
You understand Russia's in Ukraine, right? Ukraine ain't in Russia. And then even with that said, how much people can they, like, how many soldiers can they call on to go to war? Let alone, and this is why I mentioned it, let alone they are not mentioning that Russians have the best missile technology, that of the hypersonic missile, right? Which Elon Musk, with all these tweeting to Vladimir Putin, all these hoo-ha that he started, he said he's going to attempt to make hypersonic missiles. So all that shit he's talking don't mean shit, man. But that's what it is. America, you know, America, they're known for they're renowned for their witchcraft. Hollywood has done a number on the minds of many people, right? So I got into a conversation, a guy was telling me that there's no way Russia, you know, because it's America. It's like, nigga, you watch too many movies, man. Bruce Willis ain't gonna come and save the day. Will Smith ain't gonna punch no aliens before him, man, and say, welcome to Earth. He ain't gonna do that, man. Will Smith barely even could punch the shit out of fucking Chris Rock, man. With that little sissy slap he gave him. He's got problems at home, right? Maybe boy, nigga, concentrate on not jumping the song. Okay, now. You out here worrying about my business, nigga, concentrate on not jumping the song. So
So, hey, that's where it is. You know? That shit is the funniest scene ever. Concentration on the trouble soul. Nah, but that's it. Second Ezra 15 and 7. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all of the innocent blood from among them. And this is, hey, again, going into the time of when the Lord basically just going to flip it and open the floodgates. Because it comes down to, hey, the Lord has this measure of where it's going to be like, okay, now we're getting down. But that's the thing, people, it's with Esau. He's got pride in the fact that he's been able to continue doing what he's doing. He knows his history, he knows all the madness he's done. And he's now looking at it like, yo, I'm getting ready to lock this in. And no one's even judgment ain't even come for me yet. As such, what? He's sitting there thinking like, oh, like, yo, I'm just gonna go the whole man. He's just gonna, he ain't gonna be slowing down. He's gonna be pursuing it further. But this is a matter of what? Yahweh basically being like, yo, I'm enduring it up to a point. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, and I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy the land thereof. Yeah. Egypt's going to get smoked with the modern day Egypt. You know, Revelation 11. You have the modern Egypt. And that's what? Smith with plague. That's why you see it getting blighted now. That's why you see the economies on its last legs. You got what? The energy prices. You got various other things, man. You got taxes going up. So people are feeling the burn. London's getting, people are like saying the cost of living in London, the minimum wage ain't even anywhere close to it. It's people are free. Never mind when you can have further impacts of you know, certain shortages of resources, primarily food. There's a lot of foods where their prices are going to start to go up. And the fact that the UK is an import nation for a wide variety of things, that's going to be a thorn in the side. Because the full details of, you know, how the UK thinks get shafted post-Brexit, then, you know, we ain't got them yet. So it says, they that until the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fell through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and death therein. Yeah, woe to the world, man. Destructions and what? Because as far as these things are going to be visited, it's everyone's going to be getting tested, man, as well. When it comes to the hour of temptation, it's not just going to be a thing that's felt by a small number. It's something that's going to happen on a mass scale. Globally, people are going to be feeling the burn. Just like now, it's like as far as for the energy, it was like, imagine just one portion of the world's energy got cut out, and globally, everyone's feeling the burn. There's a conflict happening in one area of the world, and it's been felt globally. Because now it's what? It's a global economy. Everyone's interreliant on everyone else. People are thinking, well, I'm used to getting my this from there and that from there. And then it's like there's companies that are built off ordering different parts from two different parts of the world and then putting it together, and that's how they make their products. Those guys are going to be feeling the burn. That's not just like that's no small amount of businesses where they'll utilize global supply chains. Stuff being able to be shipped cheaply around the world in a relatively short time that's been a big thing. How a lot of people run their businesses. That's the only reason they're able to make a profit. That's why as soon as there's a frustration, something gets messed up, they're gonna fold. And then when a bunch of the small guys fold, the price of the bigger ones will go up. It's like the energy prices. All those small energy companies went. Then you only have to go to the big guys. Then they can charge you whatever the fuck they want. Hell. You got it? No. Oh. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, swords in their hands. Yeah. Nations combating against other nations. That's become the norm. That's not even news anymore. Hearing blah blah blah. It's like even India and China skirmishing. That's not news. The Ukraine war, that's become background noise. People are that's terrible. They hang a Ukraine flag up the window and that's it. They're like, I donated £25 to Ukraine. I'm like, bro, no, you don't care anymore, bro. That shit is white noise to you at this point. But hey, that's a sign as well. And it's funny, it's hilarious. It's like you have war on a scale to where it's become not news anymore. You hear about some shit go down in the Middle East. You hear about what's it called? Thingy, man. Palestinian children getting blown up. You're just like, yeah.
Let me quickly read this. You're speaking about the chip and how every so often they mention a little bit, they throw a little bit out there, or you can pay for this by your, a subdermal implant, in your body. So this is from Wikipedia. Gradualism. Gradualism from the Latin gradus, step, alright, is a hypothesis, a theory, or a tenet, assuming that change comes about gradually, or that variation is gradual in nature and happens over time as opposed to large in steps. Uniformitarianism, incrementalism, and reformism are similar concepts. So, main thing being step. But saying a lot of people are saying step by step whenever they want to introduce themselves into, making a shift within their life or turn their life around, or some form of, big leap or change. What they usually followed by step, I will achieve this goal. So this is the same agenda that the elites have. Step by step, they're moving towards achieving a specific goal. And this is what we're seeing right now. I'm talking about the yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's it. These are things that are going to happen, right, over time. But the predicaments that have been placed upon the earth, this is really the Heavenly Father placing gradualism upon the earth. They're happening bit by bit, all right, step by step, or little by little, as it says in the scripture, all right? Which I'll grab a couple of precepts to back me up. But basically, this is to the point of where all these things are happening. This has been a shift, a major shift that's been established upon this earth, going back to 2020, right? And obviously the years before was going to lead to an hour of temptation, right? Hour of temptation being one name and the time of Jacob's trouble. Therefore, the point was Jacob, was us, right?
For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. That's another thing. People just gonna do what the fuck they want to do. And that's what's gonna happen. Like when it gets into a state of turmoil,
you sound like
a sense of a time, a chaotic time, bro, people do whatever the fuck they want to do. It's like if people can get away with shit, they're doing all kinds of crime. Nigga Joseph Fritzl had his kids in the basement for like decades. Man was producing the most criminal family, man. Man waiting for the daughter to grow up and then impregnating the daughter. I was like, bro, this is mad.
He never seized the opportunity. Never had more than one vagina. Like, either just got to him, man.
Yeah, I was like, bro, man just had them in the basement. Like the basement was the world. That's what. A man shall desire to go into a city shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Yeah, that pride is going to cause. If as far as in the city, that's where you get the pinnacle of people that are just out there thinking, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to enjoy myself, and blah blah blah. Whatever. They're thinking they've got, you know, pride. They're thinking I'm going to be able to accomplish all I want to do in my life. That's really where their mind's at. They ain't thinking about economic downturn. They're not thinking about, you know, the place they're working could go bust. They ain't thinking about, you know, a violent insurrection happening in their land. But hey, these things occur. And then, hey, people are toast. Because especially now is the time of people have no faith. People are basically looking at things in the most carnal means possible. They're just going to be like, no! Just give up. You're going to be moving like Charlize Theron in the road, man. They're just like, no, there's no hope. They're just going to walk out into the abyss, man. I'm like, bro, shit can always get worse, man. That's something people don't even realize. If a nigga ain't starving, you like, bro, it can get worse. Even when you're starving, it can still get worse.
Oh, that's yeah. This is Daniel 8 and 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. So when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes. Right? And that's what we're in the midst of. Everything winding down, you know, the no-bid ain't a big issue. Start flying again. I mean, there's a war in Ukraine, but as long as you put Ukraine up on your Facebook or like, you know, some Ukraine flag on your social media, that's it. Ukraine, Putin has actually died. Yeah.
Because she wasn't on it. Should have been told.
So yeah. So that's really the policy. that's qualifying the gradualism, right? These changing events through laws, alright? It tells you in the book of Psalms 94, I can't remember the verbatim, but it says, let me read it. This book of Psalms, Psalms 94 and 20. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? So this man, basically, he has a mischievous end goal in mind when he establishes these laws, all right? doing it as a means to an end, right? And it's only going to bring about Yahweh. It's going to bring it to the time where Yahweh Shai can make it return, right? I don't even know why he was sacramented.
Yeah, bro. Like,
I got one more scripture on them.
if you were to hit something, you're injuring them worse than a car. So at least the car's gonna crumble. That bike is gonna break you in half.
All right. I shall go back to you. So that's Wisdom of Solomon 2:12 and 2. It says, therefore chastenest thou them by little and little that offend. Verse 10. By executing thy judgments upon them little by little. By executing thy judgments upon them by little and little, thou gavest them place of repentance. Alright? So when the Lord basically establishes his judgments incrementally, gradually, basically what he's doing is he's affording them a grace for them to repent. Alright? But as I told you, I believe you may even be reading it. For all these judgments, they were mindful and did not serve me, I think, 16. And they didn't repent, basically. So when these things happen, it's for the Lord giving you grace, allowing you to basically turn around and say, you know what, I am kind of being fucked. You know what I mean? I'm in the wrong, I need to fix up. So, reading again, verse 10, by executing thy judgments upon them little and little, thou gavest them place of repentance, not being ignorant that they were a naughty generation, and that their malice was bred in them, and that their cogitation would never be changed. Right? So this basically serves as a rule of thumb, measure to basically show, even though they happen bit by bit, when they actually fall, could this be of the Lord? Their hearts were hard like Pharaoh. Why? Because they were made to be wicked from the root. Right? And that's the same thing with dealing with this generation. These people, dealing with the 12 tribes of Israel, right? The 2/3, the wicked of the nation. They're not going to change. They're not going to get right for nothing. But then also dealing with who else? The other nations, they ain't got a hope in hell. Now, Esau definitely ain't making it nowhere out of judgment, because he was appointed to be the third class of men, the wicked, right?
Romans 9 and 20. Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest to the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Hath not the potter power over the clay, the same lump to make one vessel unto honor, and another unto dishonor?
Yeah, the lump being man being made of the dust of the ground. Even though when they're made from the same lump of clay, just get the spirits out of place inside them, quite different set of things. Right?
To make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction?
What kind of long suffering is the Lord's suffering? Right? It tells you that the Psalms that the Most High is angry with the wicked every day. Right? Now, that alone should let you know that we can throw on top of that. What the brother read earlier about what? That the righteous spirit, the spirits of the saints that died and go before it. And basically they basically speak unto the Lord. A good scripture to point out is basically Revelation 6 chapter. Where it basically speaks of what? It speaks of the innocent and righteous blood crying unto the Heavenly Father, saying, how long judged. Right? At least paraphrasing. So it's the same old deal. Right?
You see that clip of Mike Tyson punching a guy?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's Esau, man. The guy was badgering him.
I don't know what he was thinking.
I was like, bro, this guy is unstable before anything else.
Yeah. Someone should have got involved with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and I was like, bro, I was just like, bro, that is really...
Actually, a fucking former heavyweight boxer.
Former fucking heavyweight champion. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? But anyway, I was like, so what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy which he had afore prepared unto glory. Even us, whom he hath called not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. As he saith also in Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved.
Yeah, and that's the calling of the Gentiles, right? Because you had it where it's going as far back to the time of Nehemiah, Ezra, where you basically had we came back into the land, all right? And when we came back into the land, upon the decree of Cyrus, which goes back to the word Christmas, was another form of saying oil or anointed. Cyrus was anointed by the Heavenly Father during the time of the Medo-Persian Empire to bring about the establishment of the second temple. And when they were building the wall in the temple, what basically happened was you had two men that were the lineage of Aaron, or claimed to be in the lineage of Aaron, were unable to participate in the priesthood due to the fact that they didn't have their papers and their lineage. And what explicitly was said unto them was that they wouldn't be allowed to participate in the priesthood until there would be a high priest who basically come and say otherwise. Something to that point. So it basically speaking of Yahweh Shai returning and establishing that, look, you know, you are part of the gathering of the elect, right?
Priesthood of Melchizedek.
That's again under the priesthood of Melchizedek. That's what we go into, right? So that's basically what Paul is speaking to. This is why it was so prolific for him to bring in the Gentiles. A lot of them were not with it, but they really didn't understand the scripture. And it's plain to see because they didn't understand Yahweh Shai when he was on the scene, right? And really they understood because the high priest spoke of it, said it needs be in John the 19th chapter. Need be there be one priest that would, you know, give up his life for the whole nation. They understood what it was, but they said that this man would take away our place of Caesar. So they thought that it was best for themselves to keep their place with by killing Yahweh Shai out of the way. But in doing so, they're doing great wickedness.
And it shall come to pass, then the place where it said unto them, ye are not my people, there they shall be called the children of the living power. I think as the priesthood set up, as Jake is basically given honor of being able to serve Yahweh, essentially going back into the role, but in perfection, where we're no longer going to fall short. That's when everyone else is going to know it. It's going to be made, it's going to be shown on a grand stage, the whole global stage, to where everyone will see, hey, these are the people, right?
Yeah.
And
hey, you read it. It was to the point of as it was written aforetime. So this is the blessing that we stand to obtain in the nation of Israel. So the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Zion was established before the foundation of the
earth was established. We'll make it in order with everything that we see, visible and invisible, through being joint heirs onto our side. Right? But in that being the case, it's never been, especially in this day and age, it's only manifested on the earth a handful of times. But the time that we're heading into, the time where it's established forever, man, it'll be known that look, those are the sons of the living power. And really it's going to manifest what? Mount Zion, right? The monument of the Heavenly Father. That's one of the names that's put upon us, as well as Yeshurun or Yashawan, which means the first, right? So Yashawan us being the first, Jezreel, right? Yazariah Allah, he is the seed of the Most High. Zion, Zion, meaning monument, right? All of those words, all of those names that are placed upon us, those nicknames, when it's manifest and going to be known. The Lord is basically established why we have these names, especially Israel, Yashahala, he's the Prince of Power, why these names have been put upon us, right? It's going to be known. I never framed flag on the clothes. See, my like, bro. So there's a book of Hosea 1 and 9. Alright? Then said the Most High, who is named lower me? For ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. Yet the number of the children of Israel will be as the sand of the sea. So the Lord basically let me know. He said that, look, we ain't these children no more. But he still made a point for it to be known that, you know, it's a prophecy, obviously. That don't mean he's going to wipe his seed off the face of the earth. But there's going to be a disownership. Sorry? Yeah. Like he's going to disown his only begotten. But then there'll be, and that's why he said the seed will still be as the son of the seed. So it says, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass in a place where it was said unto them, ye are not the people. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall it be said, ye are the sons of the living power. Alright? So in the same place where it's going to be said that, where's the place where it's going to be said? Right now in this day and age. That's why we have the sign with the 12 tribes on it, being the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that we're the chosen of the Heavenly Father. Because why it said that we are not chosen of the Heavenly Father. In fact, we're looked at as less than nothing. Alright, a good record of that is going into the American Constitution, where it says slave is 3/5 of a man. Right, so that shows you that we weren't even seen in the form of legal status as a man, a whole man, right? But it says, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, all right? And that's why you have the sign, you have the 12 tribes, you have the kingdom of Judah, the kingdom of Israel that have never been placed together, going back to the time of King Solomon, being placed together once again in the kingdom which we're building right now of Yahushua, right? After the order of Melchizedek, which is King Solomon in the reincarnation. And appoint themselves one head, as it said. And that's going into the curse of Deuteronomy 28, where it says, our king shall also go into slavery. But it basically also says this. Let me quickly jump to Hosea, the 3rd chapter, and the 5th chapter, the 5th verse. So it says, Hosea 3 and 5, it says, afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord Yahweh. And it tells you in the book of Baruch, I believe, it says, I believe it's in Baruch, it says, seeing that you take away from the Lord, seeking 10 times more. And that says, ain't that another glory? Our president, so it says, seeking 10 times more.
Afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord Yahweh their power, David their king. Right? So how did we seek David our king? Right? By us, before we came into the faith, we had King Marshall who was seeked to be King David. They found him. Right? Just as well as they found the Heavenly Father. Right? Because if someone says, oh, it's not him, who is he then? Right? And if, who is he? Right? And if you say you don't know, how is it possible that we seek, I was going to say, sort out the invisible power, but not sort out a man among men, right? That would be in the faith as well, right? The Lord is reestablishing the kingdom, the tabernacle of David. See the tabernacle of David, right? Said he reestablished the tabernacle of David. So how would David not be present if he was being established? Alright? So I'll read again. Hosea 3 and 5. Afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord Yahweh their power, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days. So jumping back to verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Right, and as I spoke of, as I mentioned before, Jezreel goes back to the Hebrew, Jezreel Allah. Right, he seed of the power of the Most High. Right? So I read this. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Alright? When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Right? Even this right now, what we're doing, this young lady who passed, looked at her foot when she walked past her. Like, what the fuck are you reading? What the fuck are you doing? This is the beginning of the strangeness of our This is the beginning of the strangeness of our salvation, right? Basically, this work being done by us being on the highways and byways is basically the manifesting of work. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of the spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot among the saints? Therefore have we heard from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have been shined upon us, and the sun of righteousness rose upon us. Right, and that's going to be known in the last days. Right, with the manifesting of all these signs coming to pass, really the token being manifest in bold. Right, it no longer being a, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. But it being manifest that this is what it is. It's the Lord's return. Right? Yeah, that man, I'm pretty edified. Until next week. So, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Yahushua. Double honors unto the apostles and elders, great notes over the world. Shalom, man. Shalom.